I never imagined that a single sentence, shouted in anger, could expose so much truth in just a few seconds. "Get out," my son's wife yelled, her voice sharp enough to silence the entire restaurant. The words echoed, drawing every eye toward our table. Forks paused midair. Conversations died instantly. And there stood my son, calm, composed, his expression unreadable as if he had heard those words before. But this time, something was different. Because this time, the staff heard it too. The evening had started pleasantly enough. My son, Daniel, had invited the family to celebrate his 5th wedding anniversary with his wife, Melissa. She insisted on choosing the venue, an upscale restaurant in the city, known for its elegance, strict reservations, and professional staff. Melissa loved places like this. She thrived on appearances. Daniel, on the other hand, never cared much for luxury. Despite his success, he preferred simple clothes, quiet dinners, and staying out of the spotlight. If you saw him on the street, you'd never guess he was the founder and CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech firms in the region. Melissa knew this, or at least she knew part of it. From the moment we sat down, something felt off. Melissa corrected the waiter rudely. She complained about the seating. She rolled her eyes when Daniel suggested a dish he liked. I noticed Daniel growing quieter with each passing minute. "Why are you dressed like that?" Melissa finally snapped, glancing at Daniel's simple blazer. "This is a high-class place." Daniel smiled faintly. "I'm comfortable." "Well, I'm not," she replied loudly. "You embarrass me." I felt my stomach tighten. I wanted to speak, but Daniel gently shook his head at me, a silent request to let it be. Things escalated when the manager briefly stopped by our table. "Good evening," he said politely, nodding at Daniel with a warmth that didn't go unnoticed. "We hope you're enjoying." Melissa cut him off. "We're fine, thank you." The manager hesitated, clearly wanting to say more, but he smiled and walked away. Melissa leaned in toward Daniel, her voice dripping with irritation. "Did you see that? Even the staff here expects a certain standard." Daniel looked up at her calmly. "Melissa, please, let's enjoy the night." That was when she lost it. "Enough," she shouted, standing abruptly. "If you can't act like you belong here, then get out." The restaurant froze. Daniel slowly stood up too. "I think that's best," he said softly. Melissa scoffed. "Good, don't come back until you learn how to behave." He turned and began walking toward the exit. That's when it happened. "Sir, wait." The voice came from behind the bar. A young waiter rushed forward, panic on his face. The manager followed closely, along with 2 senior staff members. They stopped Daniel just a few steps from the door. "Sir," the manager said, clearly flustered, "please forgive us. We didn't realize, we didn't expect." Melissa crossed her arms impatiently. "What is going on? Why are you stopping him?" The manager turned to her, confusion and concern mixing in his eyes. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "this gentleman is the CEO of the company that owns this establishment." The silence that followed was deafening. Melissa laughed once, then stopped. "That's not funny," she said. "This is a joke, right?" The manager shook his head. "No, ma'am. Mr. Daniel Hart is the majority owner of the restaurant group. He visits anonymously to observe service quality." Her face drained of color. Daniel turned back slowly. "I wanted to see how the staff treated people when they didn't think power or money was watching," he said calmly. "Tonight answered that." The manager bowed his head. "We are deeply sorry, sir." Daniel nodded. "You handled the situation professionally, thank you." Then he looked at Melissa. "I never needed you to know who I was," he said quietly. "I only needed you to respect me." Melissa's lips trembled. "Daniel, I didn't mean." He raised his hand. "You meant exactly what you said." People around us pretended not to listen, but everyone was. "I built my company from nothing," Daniel continued. I stayed humble because I believed character mattered more than titles, but tonight you showed me who you really are. Tears filled her eyes. Please, we can talk about this at home. Daniel shook his head. I think we've talked enough. He turned to me. Dad, are you ready to go? I nodded, pride and sadness battling in my chest. As we walked out, I heard murmurs ripple through the restaurant. The CEO, she yelled at the CEO, did you see her face? Melissa stood frozen, alone at the table she cared so much about. Later that night, Daniel spoke quietly as we drove home. I didn't plan this, he said, but maybe I needed it. What will you do now? I asked. He looked ahead, steady and calm. I'll do what I should have done sooner, choose peace over pride. A week later, Daniel filed for separation. Not because of the restaurant, but because respect, once broken, cannot be bought back, no matter how powerful the title.